everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I'm the badass Budo, Lori Monaco. I am in the States broadcasting, and welcome back, my beautiful, good old Facebook. Hold on a second. YouTube, stay tuned. Let me just get back on Facebook here. All right, let me do that. And then let me start over again. Here we go. You know, it goes in stages. I really don't know what triggers it to not to be fine 1 minute and then like for another 2 weeks straight, it's not. So let's see. Are we back on Facebook? We should be any moment now. Any day now, Facebook. Any day now. Oh, it's having trouble. Thank you for those who tune. This is the reason why I want you to tune in from YouTube. Okay, there we go. We're on Facebook. So good morning, everyone. For those of you that are on Facebook, we had a little trouble getting on this morning, but we are here now. So welcome. I am the badass Budo, Lori Monaco, coming to you from the US, broadcasting. And our lovely co-host is back, the fabulous. Here she is.
Hola, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita, your gladiator guru. Disclaimer, I lost my glasses this morning on the mountain, so I cannot see any comments.
Oh, my goodness.
So if you're sending me something, Lori, please read it out for me.
Okay, I will.
I'm hoping someone puts it on Facebook later that they found them.
Oh, my gosh. I can't believe it.
If not, we're walking down to the next village, like another hour and a half, and then tomorrow we're going into like a city, and I'll get some there. I'll get some readers. But yes, I'm sorry I wasn't here on Tuesday. Mi gente, was a long walk, and I got really sick. So, but here I am. It's a beautiful day today. Yesterday was cold and raining.
Oh my gosh. How much walking have you done? Say today's Thursday. So we haven't seen you in a week. So since Friday of last week.
In the mountains? So no, I would say, I don't know. We've walked 12, and then we did 15, and then we did 20 kilometers on another day. And then that was difficult. So then the following day we only did 10. So I don't know. I'm keeping a diary of every day how much we do. So, but I can't look at it now anyway. And today was climbing briefly up to the Cruz de Ferro, which is the cross, where if anybody ever seen the movie The Way, is where they go and leave the stone that you carried from the beginning. You lay down your burdens and your sorrows. That's where my glasses, I took them off and I put them on my jacket here. And when I was doing some stuff, it must have fallen off. But we did meet a family of Puerto Ricans, so we were there singing "Que bonita bandera." Everybody's looking at us like we were crazy, but that was a very exciting moment.
Nice, very nice. Good morning, Milagros is in the house on YouTube. Good morning, Milagros. We're happy that you're here. Good morning, Chenille Real Deal on Facebook. Thank you for being here this morning. Yeah, there you go. You got your hearts this go round. So yeah, you definitely look tired. And so what happened? You got, you weren't feeling well?
I have like a sinus infection, a drip. And then when it drips, remember I had that dry cough for so long? It just makes me go on this horrible coughing thing. But I feel it, but nothing's coming up yet. But it's okay. I've been Vicking it and teeing it up, so.
Thank goodness for the Vicks.
Yeah, Vicks Vapor Rub. But yeah, so let's do our intention.
Okay, that sounds great. So we'll set our intention today. We haven't done that. I can't remember I don't think I did it on Tuesday. So we'll set our intention today. Find a purpose. Decide what it is that you're going to do today. It could be one thing. It could be multiple things. It could be one thing now and then set something later, but set an intention, have a purpose for your day today, and drive it with
gratitude. Always be grateful. I was grateful I didn't fall down the steep decline off that mountain today, all rocks.
Oh boy.
But my toes are not my friends right now.
Oh. And you still have an hour and a half of a walk left.
Downhill as well.
Okay.
So yeah, But yeah.
So you're going to pass out when you get there, and that'll be that. So how many more weeks do you have now? You're thinking about like what, like 2-3 more weeks, right?
Yeah, we have 12 more days of walking to reach Santiago.
Okay, almost 2 weeks.
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
It's the people you meet. This town is beautiful. I mean, I'm sitting in a corner at a cafe, but it's really beautiful.
it is. I love the stonework. I love stone. That's one thing I love about Europe is everything is stone. Everything is stone, cement. It's so up my alley. I love when you see a house in the States that's made of stone. Good morning, Liza. Liza's in the house. So it looks peaceful. I think that's what's so beautiful about it. It looks peaceful, you know?
Yes, it is. It is here. It's just a little village. And like an hour before I found it, I'm like, where the fuck is this village? Like, I was so done with all the rocks and the puddles because it was so much. Iris was caught in the rain yesterday and it was sleet.
Oh.
So she's like, it kept hitting me in the face. So yeah, she's not here yet. She said she's sitting somewhere on a rock up the mountain. So she's taking her time.
Yeah. Well, you have to be safe. And that's crazy. It's the end of May and you're getting sleet because of the altitude. I couldn't even imagine if you had stayed on during the winter. It would have been brutal.
Yeah, especially up in the mountains because it was so cold yesterday, like bone cold up on that mountain. Today's it's nice. Look, I had to take my jacket and my scarf off. I've been with this because the dust it's been bothering my cough, but it's now we're coming down, so it's good. Like when you were walking up that mountain yesterday, your ears were popping, constantly popping.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what is? I can't even talk about because it's so much data still uploading that I can't even center on. Oh, what am I getting? But this walk is so different from all the other walks. And just talking with the people, and I was talking to this kid, and I was telling him, every day we're students and every day we're teachers. You just got to focus in your now and be present when you're having a conversation with somebody. And it's just so much. Like with me when I'm walking and I'm having all these conversations, I couldn't even verbalize what any of it means or how I'm gonna apply it. Yes, it's like that kid at the chocolate factory. There's so much that you're just grasping for. So I just said as I'm walking down, you know what? It'll settle, and then it'll make sense to me because right now it doesn't make sense to me. But it's very exciting.
Well, and the thing is that so Tuesday's conversation that you weren't able to make was hard and fast, pushing yourself hard and fast. And I had told everybody that we wanted to get a little bit risque and crazy because we used to do that all the time and we kind of pulled away from it. We want to have a little fun with it. And then today's conversation is push it slow and soft. And the whole goal is that sometimes when you're pushing yourself, you've got to be very hard and fast. Like you have to just get up and do it and go as fast as you can. And then there's other times that you have to take your time. You take the pause, you do it slow, methodically. The goal is to be able to know the difference when to do slow, when to do fast, and balance between the two. And this is a great example. Bye, Liza. Liza, you could keep us on in your ear just, when you're at work. So just ignore everybody around you. Good morning to Diana. Lynn Lowe is in the house. Tiffany Bryan came on. Good morning, my sister Leanne. Melanie is watching as well. So this is proof that, look at, you've had to take it slower. When things get a little more challenging and they get rocky, and they get harder, you have to slow it down. So I'll let you talk for a second.
I when I'm in pain, I walk fast. When I'm angry, I walk fast. Don't ask me why. And when I'm just processing information, I notice that I steady my pace. Um, and then I'm like, oh, this is the camino. But I think that's how it's always been for me. What I'm learning is that it's okay. Some of the wordings that keep popping up in my walking and talking with self is just confirmation about vulnerability. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And I think pushing it really hard was always me, um, living on my terms and not not so much wanting but accepting assistance or direction. And I think this is what's been popping up, especially like when I go home. There's a lot of changes I'm gonna make again, and that's why I would recommend the Camino to anybody at least once in your life, because although you get up and it's, we run from routine, but the Camino is routine. You get up every day with an intention to walk. You find your place wherever you reserved your bed, and you figure shit out. And then again is the next day. It's a freeing routine, because the only thing you have to do is introduce yourself to yourself, the real you, the raw you. So if I could recommend anything to anybody, is to even if you can't take a whole month, at least do a week, 2 weeks to do this, because the connection, it's just mystical. The connection that you find the strength to dig so deep within yourself, to pull out that courage that you're like, what the hell was I doing all my life? And sometimes we need to separate. We need to slow down our lives with whatever routine we have going on all our lives, and just be with you. And a lot of people say, oh, I could never do that. I could never do that. And I've met people said that they're doing it now because they were afraid of what they were going to discover about themselves.
Oh, that's
You
deep.
know, and they were afraid of saying the wrong thing to the people they met. And then that person went on and said, and I shared some very personal information that I never even share with my friends back home to fairly a group of strangers, and I felt so relieved. So it's like you never know where it's going to go. It's like the alchemist. I'm always going to revert back to the alchemist. It's like Matu, it is written. Sometimes we complain, why hasn't our life taken off the way we dreamed, the way we prayed, the way we expected? And it's because you're not doing anything about it. You got to get out of your own way. And sometimes you have to step out of the life that you know into something you don't know to discover what's already been seeded within you. That would be my recommendation. And when you're going to go, see, our lives, our real lives that we've adapted is fast. Get up, go to work, get the kids ready, do the laundry, make sure the homework's done, cook the dinner, make it to the appointment on time. You're always on the go. And then when you do carve out time for yourself, you feel guilty. Like I should be doing something. Why am I watching TV? I should be putting a load in or whatever. We never allow ourselves, we never give ourselves the permission to slow down.
Yes, true. Very true.
So if to somebody it's like that's silly, flying all the way to Spain to sleep in beds, different beds, in room full of people. And you know what? Sometimes your treasure is in the least place you.
I agree. I agree.
I
Because
don't. Uh
some
huh.
sometimes the greatest gifts are, a lot of times when we think of going away somewhere, for instance, We think, oh, well, I got to go to this. This is where I've always wanted to go. Okay, fine. You go to the place you always wanted to go. But I want to save up money because I want to have the luxuries and I want to have all this. And there's nothing wrong with that. I want to make sure that I'm clear about that, because sometimes you do want to have those those spoils. You want to go to that fancy resort or something like that. But people who are hell bent on only traveling that way, they miss so much when they only stay in those places that are the resorts, when they don't venture out. Now, granted, there are some areas where you have to be very careful about venturing out, because literally the safest place to be is a resort because it's in the middle of a really bad area. But we're talking like, go see these places. Like if you go to Italy, if you go to Spain, if you go to France, yes, you could stay in these places that are higher dollar, 5-star, whatever, but venture out. Rent a car, go explore, go into these smaller towns, stay at a little mom and pop type of place, or do what you're doing is trekking, because it really gets you to meet. You're not just meeting locals, you're meeting people from all over the world, from all different backgrounds. There's people that you've probably crossed that you might not have even known are filthy wealthy, because you just don't know, because that's not what's presented. And then you have other people who are barely getting by, but they needed to do this. I want to read what my sister wrote. So my sister wrote, "That is why I love trekking very challenging mountains. The experience makes you think about your life, the challenges we face, and we connect with others who are experiencing a similar journey. It's beyond words. It's very spiritual." Yes. And then Madeline says, if I could pull it up, "We stand in the middle of the road, stopped, and don't understand why we aren't going anywhere. We are the barriers." Absolutely. My sister says she takes their public transportation and she meets locals. Madeline says, "I've learned that I have been the biggest critic hater in my own life." Yes, we are our own worst enemies. We can be our biggest fans and our worst enemies in the same thing. And then yet we blame other people on the outside to say, well, they didn't give me enough support, that they were being rude, that they knocked down my dream. When you want something, you don't care what the hell anybody thinks. I've learned this over the years. If I really wanted it, I would have done it. And yeah, I had to get past insecurities. So, but I kept making excuses for myself to say, oh, my journey, blah, blah, blah. There was a moment where I was going really fast, and then I got slowed down. And instead of looking at it as a time to regroup, I kept trying to go for the thing that I was going to before, instead of realizing the slowness was telling me that I was shifting into another direction. But I kept wanting to keep going on that other path. And it ended up causing massive stagnation from like 2021 to basically, but all of 2021 basically, and almost all of 2022. And that was 2 years. That was a 2-year chunk where I was just getting by doing the bare minimum. And then I got into a bad space. So recognizing now when I need to move faster and push harder, and then when I have to take that pause, slow it down a little bit, think it through, take my time, because there's obstacles and there's things that I'm going to miss. When Gladiator was walking down that mountain, she said there was a lot of rocks. If you go down too fast and say, oh my God, I really got to get to this place, I have to get down to this village, blah, 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 she could have really hurt herself. And then what good does that do? It's about taking your time and just, okay, at this point, I've got to take time. And there might be an area where she walks that's a little flatter. And she says, you know what, I can make up a little time here because I want to get ahead of myself. So I could push myself a little harder on the flat part, if that's the case.
That was exactly what I did, because I was here. I know I had to charge my phone a bit, and peace at 7:30 this morning, and then I got on. I think when you said something very, very important, you said you were going through this thing, didn't slow down. You felt I have to keep working. I have to. And sometimes, yeah, we become the problem in our lives because we have this expectation that if I don't do it this way, and you were all guilty of it. We are all guilty.
Yes.
Of it. So it was really empowering, because we need to recognize that it's okay So one of the things that I know for a fact, I was telling Iris yesterday, I said, um, I always try to be in the present. I don't dredge up the past. And if I do talk about things from the past, it's like, for instance, like, yeah, I was blah, 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 but then blah, blah, blah. It's her badass story. That's how I speak. This was trauma. This was triumph. And this is the transformation I made out of it. Let me help you get there. Let me help
Yes.
you. What my whole life has changed, and I did not slow down really, really to capture it. And because I didn't, everyone around me was just like, oh, okay, this is just what she's doing. But December 1st, I sold my house. December 17th, I'm on my way to Spain to do the Winter Camino. January, the love of my life, my ex-husband dies. I'm back there. So now I've been in Connecticut with my son and with my daughter-in-law, my two beautiful granddaughters, and I'm still saying, okay, what is this? And yesterday, it just like slapped me. It's like, when I go home, I am going to enjoy every single moment with them. I'm going to love my now. I'm going to really work my ass off in the studio. I'm gonna bring my creativity up 2 or 3 notches from where it's at now. And because all of that happens when you are standing in your now.
Yes.
And I was standing in my today when it was like, we're outside having a cigarette, right? And it's cold. And I'm like, and Iris is looking at me, and I'm just like, bum, 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 because I had to say it out loud. It had been ruminating in my thoughts, but I had to say it out loud so it can re enter me and be like, exclamation point. And that's what it is. So I think when we are comical with ourselves, when we be like, what the hell was I thinking with ourselves? Oh, okay, I got confused. I got no U-turn, Margie. Back to square one. I think when we can be gentle with ourselves in that way, we don't spiral down. We
Yes.
don't feel defeated. We don't feel like there's no solution to this unless I ram through the brick wall, make it smash so I can get what I want to get. When we are gentle, we are living in kindness for ourselves. The gratitude follows, and then the doors will open on its own, leading us in the direction we need to be. Because that's the universe. That's God. That's saying, date quieta. Just sit still for a minute. Breathe. Everything you need is at your fingertips. Why do you feel like it's 3 miles down the road? I think that when you go slow, you are telling yourself you are worthy, you are kind, you are brilliant. We got this. Let's just go slow. Let's just go slow so that the words can connect as they should instead of rushing it. Because I was one guy says, you're trooping it. You're going real fast. And I'm like, if you only saw me stumbling 2 times over rocks, I said, let me slow my ass down. Exactly what you said. When there was a little bit of dirt, I'm hot, hot, hot. And then when the rocks were, I got pictures. I'll post them later. I'm like, where the fuck all these rocks come from? There's not even like walls of mountains above us. Like they these rocks in this path. But yeah, but you get through it because when you pray for patience, sends you a lot of trials. So you know what?
Yep.
You know what? Here for the pain is in the pain.
Yes.
That's just looking at it.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's talk about this. So, what we were talking about is pushing it slow and soft. So, in the beginning, I typed in it's about feeding your spirit and taking pause, and that's still pushing. Good morning, Nubia. My goodness, one of my old students is on. Fabulous Nubia. It's about saying, okay, like Gladiator Guru just said, if the universe, God, whatever's in your practice is telling you, like things are getting in the way, things are becoming a little bit more challenging, and you want to keep moving, you have to just stop for a minute and ask yourself, is this the moment that I need to slow it down? Is this the moment that I need to say to myself, okay, I need to regroup. I need to think this through. I need to pull it into, make sure that I'm walking in the right direction, because sometimes your path will have a little veer to the side and it might have another veer to the side. And you want to make sure that you're taking the right path, because one is the shorter distance and one is the longer distance. And when you sit and honor yourself and think it through, then it's almost like it glows. Like, so if you're looking at a path and you have a path that has like three, one goes this way, there's two offsets like this. When you sit and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm at a crossroads, I don't know what to do. Well, maybe I'll take this one because I think this looks like it's going in this direction. Stop doing that. Don't figure out which path to take. Just sit and feel all the possibilities. And then it will start to like glow, like it will pull you into the direction that you need to go. And I'll give you an example with regards to my situation, like me. I never thought that I would go back into practice, I would see patients here and there, but mostly what I was doing was coaching. But when I came here, it's funny because I'm actually excited to have patients. I'm excited to be working on patients. In fact, that's what I've been pushing over the coaching. And I even surprised myself because I was telling this to a friend of mine who's a business coach. And I said, I like never would have thought that. But instead of resisting it, because there were conversations with my friend who's a business coach talking about what I'm building here. And, and my idea was to create this retreat and do the coaching and focus on that. And she made a couple of comments. She's like, okay, I know you're looking at the chiropractic part, but, don't forget that you want to do this and that. And I listened to her and I almost felt a little apprehensive, like guilt, like almost guilty, like to say, well, you know what, she's right, because this is what I said I was doing. And then I said, no, she's not me. She's not me. And I had to remind myself of that. She's not me. So I need to do what's right for me. And I'm so tired of people telling me what they think is better for me. It doesn't mean that they're entirely wrong. It's a matter of taking in what's said, sitting with it, and then deciding maybe that is good advice. Maybe that does work for me. Because another comment was in a call when I told the group that I was doing the wellness festival, the wellness event, and then exactly 1 week later I was doing the dance, the dance party, of which I have to market like crazy, do a lot of work for. And she made the comment of, I'm a little concerned because why did you pick them 1 week apart? I said, I don't know. It just worked out that way. It felt right to me. And I thought about it, like, is this going to be too much? And then I said, no, it'll be fine. Like totally convinced it would be. So when she said that, I actually got defensive, but not in a bad way. I just let her talk. And I said, you know what? I know it's going to work out. Like, I'm not worried about it. And she's never mentioned it again. And I'm not complaining about it. I'm looking at it going, it's either going to work or it's not going to work. But in my head, it's going to work. And I've had that attitude here. Some days it's moving really fast. Some days it's moving slow. Some days I do get impatient when it's slow. And I want it to be done already. But it's moving in its own time. And I feel it in my heart that things are going to shift drastically this summer, like for the better. And I'm excited for that. So I've decided, okay, you know what, then I'm just going to keep steadfast, do all the things that I need to do, take care of all the things that I need to take care of, because there's so many things that I'm working on, and I'm just going to keep moving forward. And that's that. And when I feel like I need to slow it down, I'll slow it down. When I feel like I can run on that flat road, I'll run.
That's the balance.
Yes.
When a couple years ago, when 2020, I'm assuming it was, when the boom of entrepreneurs and people finally decided, I ain't got nothing else to do, might as well start that business I was thinking about 10 years ago, right? Out of your kitchen, your garage, whatever the case may be. And then they started being a lot of stuff, and people like, oh, but and I said, I don't agree with that shit. Team no sleep, that the entrepreneurs should not sleep. I said, I'm sleeping. What good am I with no sleep? Just trying to write grants and write mission statements and get this. So I think there's a balance when you are working on something. And so what? It's a week apart. They're two different events. You have two different mindsets on it.
Yes.
You're gonna do another. It doesn't matter, but you need to like. Okay, I need to have all this at a certain date, and then the rest. Okay, what the theme decoration that can be slow. Let me tell you. Sometimes when you're at a crossroads, you do need to sit still and take a breath and just slow your life down for the minute. So you can listen, your five senses. You know, I was talking to somebody. I'm like, every day we wake up, we forget that we also got to wake up our five senses before when we're starting on our day. And so sometimes you don't, when you're going to make a decision, you don't need to slow down. It's just like the Viva Cafe con Leche. Carmen's like, you should do this. I said, okay, I know the right person. I didn't sit on it and say, well, who should I have? Because this one will bring that. And this one will bring that. I said, no, I'm going to ask Lori to be my co-host on Viva. And you know what? And that was it. I never thought back on that. When my mom got sick, I hesitated 2 weeks. I was slow, very slow and soft on that one. But I did it. And the outcome of it was perfection in my heart. So you are the only person who knows you. And you might be angry with you because of past decisions. You might be angry at yourself because the fear prevented you from following a dream that you know you would have been fantastic at. That's the past. Let it go. Where are you right now that you can push? What was Tuesday's thing? Fast and what? Hard? Are you on mute? Oh,
Yeah, I was, because sometimes it interferes with your microphone.
okay.
Push it hard and fast.
Push your hard and fast. There's gonna be when you wake up and say, "Oh my God, okay, why am I still living on what could have happened? This is where I'm at. What do I have right now? What do I have? What can I start with right now? Look through your pantries. I'm sure we can get shit started, even if it's just to motivate yourself. And then when you're working on your project, make sure it's slow and soft. You're being soft with yourself. You're gonna make mistakes. Okay, I won't do that again. And you work slow at it. It's a balance. You can't have Speedy Gonzalez all the time. And then what's that other fable? The what in the hair? The turtle, tortoise.
Yeah, the tortoise and the hare.
You know, we're a balance of that. And if you can't balance that in your life, then you're always going to be rushing to or away from something, or you're going to be left behind. So you got to decide. Everybody is built different. For the most that the badass Buddha and I might share in common, the love we have for certain things, it doesn't mean we're the same. We do certain things together, but there's stuff that we do that are here. And we talk and we're like, okay, okay, okay. And then we slow down. I slow down for my own things because I'm like, okay, what am I doing? And I was like in a whirlwind since December. Like, what? I can't believe this happened. But I'm here now. I'm here now. Like, I'm ready for all the challenges coming my way. And I agree with you about it. This summer, that's it. It's going to be the stamp on. And this is it.
Well,
Made by.
and I've seen this with Gladiator Guru. I've also seen it with myself. Like, she'll go into these spurts where she's just a creative fool. She's like making things. She's like sending me pictures, and then we're on the phone, and she's like, "What do you think of this? Look at this, blah blah blah." And she'll go into this like major creative mode. She'll be writing, and I'll look at that and go, "Dang, I wish I was that disciplined to where I would be like doing that nonstop." But I do different things. So my creative mode is a little bit different than hers. And so I started to really see her doing this. She would do this in a chunk, and then she would sort of slow it down. And then she wouldn't do it. She wouldn't pick it up. She'd be like, "Yeah, I don't want to do any more purses. I don't want to do any more of this." And then she would do it. And then she would do it. She would move on to something else. And I started to notice that about myself. And I started to say to myself, you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. You get these people like, you have to be on the go all the time, on the go all the time. And some people are built that way. Some people are truly built that way. That I'm not. And knowing yourself, we've said this so many times, knowing yourself is the most important thing. Because if that's not how you work, don't beat yourself up about it. Know that I am doing this. Like, I know, like, when I put my mind to something, I can go from morning until late at night, have all the energy in the world, and feel invigorated and don't feel that it's a burden and I'm tired. There's been times where I've had people tell me, it's getting late. Why don't you stop what you're doing? And I can't. Or I'm outside doing like physical work and I'm exhausted, but I'm like in my head going, well, I still want to do this and I still want to do that. I'm probably going to have about an hour and a half left of work. Even though I'm exhausted, I still do it because I know me. And if I finish to this level, I'll feel satisfied and I can go and I can shower and I can feel good. And that's that. Where if I stop before, I will not have the momentum the next day to pick up where I left off. And coming to terms with that and honoring myself with that and saying, okay, you know what, that's how I work. And I'm not going to apologize nor explain it to other people that don't work that way. So when somebody tells me now, like friends or a business coach or whatever, oh, blah, 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 I take it in and then I make it work for me. And that's why I've had such tremendous success with this, because I'm doing it my way, and I'm not listening to any I'm listening, I'm taking the information in, but then I'm filtering it. And some of it is exact. Some of it is like, if they said do it this way, I'm going to do it this way. Hey, it worked. And sometimes not so much. I want to read a couple of things that were written. So Madeline said, I remember this. I will fail forward or move forward, but I won't stay stagnant. I appreciate the growth. It hurts sometimes. It's glorious sometimes, and sometimes it's terrifying, but it's my spirit and soul and my strength, and that's what I can control. Fabulous, Madeline. Madeline's on a roll again today. Most valuable tool I've learned here is that I can respectfully share my truth, and it's my thoughts that we need to start picking ourselves instead of waiting for others to pick us. Absolutely. Gail entered in by saying, riding the wave of energy, short and sweet, to the point. Absolutely. And then Madeline said, yes, filter things. Absolutely.
Well, yeah. Remember a couple of weeks ago, I told you when I had Reiki done, and the guy from the Reiki said something, and the lady in the albergue, she said she went so much, but really, people shouldn't be so forward because a lot of people can't handle the truth. And I said, that's not my problem. My job in this world is to be me.
Your video's off. You know that, right?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Okay.
And so yeah, that's exactly what happened. And remember, I said that I listened to them, I absorbed what they said, and then I sat with it and I wrote it, and I was like, you know what? Like, I don't have to explain myself to people, and as long as I'm not unkind or being mean to people, I'm okay. If don't ask me a question if you don't want the truth. That's just point blank on that.
Yep.
And so when you go through life and you want to do something, and then you're like, oh, I want to do this, but then you know what? Then you don't want to do shit. Point blank. That's what it is. Because that it should never be followed. I want to do this, but yet is better, because yet you're even telling your brain, okay, but it's a possibility that it is gonna happen. A but means it's not happening.
Unless you follow it by a double but. A double but. I want to do this, but I don't have enough money, but I know that I can get it. Yes. We never talked about having a double but.
I like that.
Rebut yourself. It's a rebut, I guess, right?
It's no, a double but. Write down for our next show.
A double but.
I think that we all have the capabilities of being our best selves if we just, like Gail said, we gotta ride that wave of energy with so much trust in our capabilities, side by side with our fears, because we're gonna always have a fear of something, but sometimes we need to write it and see what we're really made of, because sometimes we want something and then when we do it, we're like, oh, this is really not what I thought it would be, and that's like perfect. Because you went there. You're not living regret all your life by not trying it. So I'm thinking, when we decide, I'm gonna get to know myself. Like, I had a conversation with a kid this morning, and he's like, I've been walking around with people, and he should be coming on the show, but he's still walking. About the question came up of who am I? I said, that's a really great question. I said, but we can't like go dig back in our old wardrobe for who am I. You got to say it from the standpoint where you're at this moment, because you're not the same person you were back in your old wardrobe. You're the true person right now in your moment. And I said it, and really, like, when you get to that, I think, what would you say are core values of who am I think they would be the integrity, the awareness of who you are, the kindness you carry and share, and knowing that every day we walk this earth, we are students and we are teachers. So you just said that when you said you listened to what they said, even though you were like, no, it's no problem, and she never said it again. You were the student with her sharing that with you, but then you taught her that it was okay. There was no problem. You can handle this. You got this. And if we walk every day like that, I'm going to learn and I'm going to share. That helps us out. It helps not feel, what's that word I want? You used it earlier. We won't get upset or feel like, oh, start questioning ourselves over it. Okay, you listen, you absorb it. Okay, no, I don't want it. That's it, and you carry on.
Yep.
That's cultivating the trust within yourself.
Yep. Madeline says exactly. And Gail wrote, for me, riding the wave is so much more fun than the push. I get so very much done honoring my rhythm. Right. And and again, Gail, there's a perfect example. It's semantics too. It's deciding the words that work better for you. Some people like the push. Some people like the kick in the ass. Some people need the kick in the ass. Some people like, people who run, like they like to push themselves. They like to go further. So they like that word. They might not say, oh, I'm going to ride the wave while I'm running. That might not work for them. But if you're a surfer, that's great. So if that's the beauty of this, is discovering the words that work for you to get you moving forward. That's the whole point. Whether it's a wave that's pushing you, moving you forward, that you're following it, whether it's a push that's moving you forward. It might even be a pull sometimes. Sometimes you are at that point where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't do this. And you have your beautiful tribe around you, the people that really care about you and see your vision and feel it and want you to move forward with your vision. We'll grab your hand and say, no, get off your ass, and we're going to walk with you and we're going to pull you. And see and when I think about Margarita, when I think about us as friends, we're walking, oftentimes our paths are very right next to each other. We're walking next to each other. We jog a little bit. Sometimes we talk as we're doing it. Then it'll veer a little bit. She'll do her thing. Then we come back and say, oh, but either way, we know we're always in the right direction because we're moving, we're going. And, over the last 3 years, especially, there's been so much crap that has happened for us personally that we did have moments where we were just sitting on that path and not moving. And the other one noticed it. And the other one noticed it. And the other one tried to, was encouraging, but also, at this, compassionate at the same time, saying, come on, we gotta get moving. Knowing though, and still respecting each other's growth and evolution, and knowing that we're letting stuff go. For me, it took me to literally finally move physically from where I was to get the space to clear my head even more, because I wouldn't have been in that space at all had I stayed there any longer. And I had overstayed my welcome for sure. And with Gladiator Guru, it was letting go of something that people believed you're supposed to have that was not correct for her. when she was getting ready to sell that house, she told me, and she only told like a couple of other people. She didn't say anything to anybody because she didn't want to hear the comments. She didn't want to hear the people instilling their own belief system and fears in her. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go after that? She had a greater belief in herself, knowing that, you know what? I know what I'm doing. I don't know it all yet. It's unfolding as I go, but I know that this is what feels right. It's just like when you had said you had sold the house and then literally like a couple days later, you left. But that was the same thing with when Eric died. When Eric died, you were out like right away. And guarantee you there were people that said, oh, look at her. How could she go? Her husband just died. And what kind of person is she? You know what? The hell with you. You don't know. That's right. The thing is that's a lot of years of caregiving. And society says, oh, you're supposed to mourn a certain period of time. You know what? Then you be that person. I'm not doing myself any good mourning the loss of this person. I 6 years I gave to this individual, which I don't regret. But now I have got to find myself again. I've got, and knowing what you've told me about him, that's what he would have wanted anyway for you, So we've got to do that sometimes, where we have to just stay very steadfast and very, take the information in. But that's the key, is knowing yourself, knowing your what is it that you want? Why do you want it? Why is this important to you? And then saying, the hell with all of you. You could say it nicely. You don't have to say it meanly, but say, I'm on my path. I'm on my path. You're more than welcome to walk beside me, but just don't get in the way. Don't throw rocks and sticks in front of my path because you can't walk on your own and you want to trip me up. Because you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to walk over those sticks. And if you put a log in front of there, I'm just going to have to climb over the log. And if you put a boulder there, I might have to probably create a path to go around it, but I'm going to do it because this is what I want. And if I'm wrong, if my journey is, if I get there and it's not what I wanted and I change my mind, I get to do that. And I don't get to listen to you say, oh, well, look, you did all that and look what happened. Yep. Look what happened. With these two events that I have 1 week apart from each other, what's the worst that could happen? They could fail. The worst that could happen is I lose a lot of money. I don't get the amount of people to show up. I don't get to fill the tables for the expo. I don't sell the amount of tickets. But you know what's funny? I don't feel like that's going to happen. And it's a little scary because the dance party, I got to sell 200 tickets. That's a lot of tickets. And it's a big expense. It is a big upfront expense that I've got to come up with. And I reimburse myself after. So in my head, I'm like, oh, this is, and I'm like, you know what? It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I'm going to sell these tickets and I'm going to make a little bit of profit and also have a great time. And so is everybody else going to have a great time.
That's it. Yeah. Remember, we talked about it a long time. It's like a seamstress. Right? If you allow other seamstress to come in and tell you the pocket should go here, the pocket should go there, the hem should be this length, and it's not your dress anymore. So it's good to listen, because people are going to say something, and some are going to be good and some are going to be not. But you need to learn which ones you're going to weed out. And it goes back to the VIP section of your life. We don't always want everybody to agree with us because we're wrong sometimes. There are times we're going to be wrong. We're going to be so gung-ho on wanting to do something. We're like this. So there are people that need to check us. What are you doing? You skipped B and C. Why? How are you on D? You were just from A. Oh my God, I just was so caught up in something. We need those people to hold us accountable. We need those people to be like, okay, slow down. But we also need people that at arm's distance that we can celebrate with, that we want them to participate in our events, but not in the planning of it. How's that? Is that a better because not everybody comes from the same places That's why it's so important to know and connect and just become best friends with yourself.
Yeah.
So you insult yourself. You could say, it's okay, baby. We're going to try harder next time. What the fuck? You know, all these things that go through your head, but you're checking you. And when you say, hey, Lord, I was planning on doing this, but I don't know. It doesn't seem, I don't know. What am I missing? Then that's when you're welcoming it. And they can give you a whole paragraph and you only took that one middle sentence, but that's what you needed. But it takes me back to with the walking and the vulnerability and all of that. You have to be open. You have to, Gail, thank you, ride the wave of energy. Money is going to come and go all our lives. You know, money is currency and currency is energy. And if you put it out in a good way and you think you lost it, it's going to come back to you the way, shape, or form. Because what you set out to do with the open heart and something went amid some wrong in the way, it's always going to. And so that fear you have is very valid. I think we all have fears. I know in one of the mountains we got to climb. I'm not going to be happy getting up that morning to climb that mountain, but I'm going to do it. It is just walking, right? Because then I have to deal with the aftermath pain. So in life, either we choose it or it just happens. Define what you're comfortable with. And sometimes that happens in a slow season. When you're sitting there saying, oh, I had a good day, and your feet are like doing this. Aside from that. So I think pushing it, we do need to push ourselves, even if it's, to start something. We need to push or we need to really go hard on it. And once it's flowing, sorry.
Oh my God.
It's bad. The people sharing the rooms with me are not happy with me.
Oh, it happens. What are you going to do? It's not like you did it on purpose.
What was I just saying? I was just saying something. Se me fue. It went with the cough. Stick with yourself.
I do want to say, so let you catch your breath. I'm trying to keep up with everybody. And I also wanted to say, so I want everybody to really experience in a way what Gladiator Guru is doing. There is something to be said about pushing yourself physically to help you mentally and emotionally. That's what I do with yard work. There's a lot to be done in this property. Let me tell you, anybody want to come down and they like to do yard work, come down. We'll give you meals and a room for a few days and you can help me do this because there's just so much to do. But it's very cathartic for me because that physical push is what helps me mentally and emotionally. My sister is more of my sister will do that, but my sister's also very big into running and working out and hiking. And that's her push, the physical push. So just to give you an idea of what it's like, here's what I'm going to recommend for this weekend. If you are going to sit and watch a little bit of TV or something like that, watch the movie. First off, you could watch the movie with Reese Witherspoon, Wild. That movie is about the trek on the Appalachian Trail, which is near me. And it's based on it's a book, and it's based on a true story of a woman that her whole life was just falling apart. She was her mom, I think, had passed away. She was a recovering addict herself, and you just feel it, like really. They did a really good job with this movie. But then I thought, you know what, just to be inspired by Gladiator Guru, I just looked up and there's some movies on the Camino. So I'll want to put these in to the comments before we hang up. But there's a list of, I think there's 10 of them here, or 5 of them, or 8 of them. I don't know. The first one they wrote is The Way. It's from 2011. It has like Martin Sheen in there. Another one is Walking the Camino 6 Ways to Santiago. That's 2009. That's a documentary. The other one I think is more of a movie. I'll Push You, A Journey of 500 Miles. That's from 2016. Another one is called Tres en el Camino, and that's from 2004. Another one is O Ye of Little Faith, 2004. Camino, The Journey up to Santiago is 2013. So some of them are documentaries, but I'll put the titles in there. But the reason I'm thinking that this would be fun is because you'll be able to feel what Gladiator Guru is feeling, plus what she's posting, because sometimes we need to understand what it means to push yourself beyond what you believe you can do, and then believe that, hey, you know what, this is possible. Because maybe next year or the end of this year, that will actually be on your list. You're going to actually go to the Camino. You know, if you didn't put your vision board together for the year, that's okay. I still haven't put mine completely together. Who's to say the end of the year? I mean, it'll be colder, so we'll learn our lesson from Gladiator Guru. We want it to be warmer, but it's push yourself. You know, if you say, well, I'd like to do this, but I'm really not ready physically to do that, then guess what? What you'll do between now and when you set that trip into play is you're going to push yourself and get yourself in shape so that you'll be able to do it. But so I'll put those up. So go ahead and talk, Gladiator Guru, while I put those up.
For it, but I tell you, The Way is a very beautiful movie. They never show them breaking their ass climbing up or down a mountain, but it says a lot. They're coming up with part 2, and I'll Push You is about a man walking the Camino, pushing, I don't know if it's his brother or his best friend, in a wheelchair up through everything. It's very beautiful. Some of the documentaries, but I'm crying. They have something called, only 8 episodes. It's called My Three Caminos. My Three Caminos. That is phenomenal with 5 characters. So yeah, and you see them walking in the winter and everything. But I just think, find out what you want to do. And if you can't do it now, then make yourself a priority and do exactly what the badass Buddha says. Schedule yourself into your life the way we schedule everything else. Block out some days for you to do something. After Eric died, before I came on the Camino, all I wanted to do was go rent a hotel room on Clearwater Beach. Not go out onto the beach. Anybody who knows me know I only do the beach at night on a full moon. But I wanted to have a balcony overlooking the ocean, just for the smell of it, for the sound of it. And then, of course, I was like, nope, I'm going to Spain. But sometimes it's just that. It's just, if you don't want to drive far or anything, find a nice spot. Like she said, a bed and breakfast or something that's just you in a book or you in a notebook. And it's just you with your sun hat or whatever it is you want to do. But you're deserving of that. And it doesn't have to be so expensive.
Exactly. It's do something for yourself. And there is something to be said, which is really important, about solitude. Doing it by yourself. So if you've never been that person to ever go on vacation by yourself, never stay somewhere by yourself, give it a try. And if you're nervous about it, then just stay local. Don't go too far, but just find a nice Vrbo or Airbnb that gives you what you're looking for. Gladiator Guru said something that was really important when she was talking about, she wanted to find that place that had the beach. And I remember years ago, I wanted that. I said, you know what? I want to be on a hotel that's right on the beach so that I can get up in the morning and, while everybody's still sleeping, and just get up and watch the sunrise. And that's exactly what I did. I found this little place in Old Orchard Beach in Maine. And it was in my price range, and it had a pool, and it was right on the beach. And I like that area. It's very kitschy. It's old and it's quaint, and it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it works for me. And my daughter, if it had just been my youngest and I going, all we would have done was be on the beach. That's all. And so, in fact, we actually are going to, she and I are going to a place to, in a couple of weeks. We're going to be going, about 3 weeks, I think. We're going to be going to Charleston, South Carolina. And we're there for just like, 4 nights, whatever, 3 nights, something, 3 nights, 4 days, something like that. And our whole goal is to just hang out by the beach and then maybe, walk around and, look at all the old places, because I love the houses and I've never been there before. But that's the goal. She and I have the same kind of idea. We'd be happy as a clam if we just sat and played on the beach, but been near the water and feel the water and smell the ocean. So it's about taking what's important to you and stop putting it on the back burner. Stop saying, oh, I'll do this. Nobody wants to do this with me, so I'll find somebody else to do it with me. Stop looking for somebody else. You have somebody. You're here. Just do it. The hell with it. If they don't want to do it, then just go on your own. And you know what tends to happen? You do it, and the person's like, oh, well, I can't believe you went and looked really nice. I saw some of the pictures, and how was it? And you're like, it was fantastic. It was wonderful. There are moments where you are by yourself and you say, boy, I would really love so-and-so to be here because they would really like this. They would experience this. But maybe that's the only way to get so-and-so there, is for you to go and then say, I thought about you and this is so perfect for you, and go with me the next time. And maybe they will and maybe they won't. My sister wrote, there are groups out there that you can join that have women who travel solo. Absolutely. And Gladiator, you're muted.
Yeah, I was agreeing with you. I was like, absolutely, absolutely. Honor yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Be kind to yourself, and know that you are worthy, even if it is just a weekend. Maybe if you just take Wednesday and Thursday off from work and just say, I'm out. And, leave everything prepared. Or if you have children and a husband, leave everything prepared. I'm sure he can handle it. But he'll be even happier upon your return, because it just changes you when you take care of you. You go away and you might not be thinking of nothing, but then you be thinking of everything. And sometimes things just fall into place. And when you come back, you're a happy wife. You're a happy mom. And you're not even realizing it until one day some says, you've been so happy lately. And sometimes that's what it takes. So I say, it's a strong suggestion. I would do it. I've done it. Lori has done it. Taking how many road trips and finally moved. I think when we decide to do something, just do it, because before you even recognize, sometimes they're recognizing the change within you. And then that makes for a happy life.
Absolutely.
You got to love yourself enough to know that you matter. And if you love but you're not happy, you feel lost, feel dislocated from everything, that means you need some time with yourself.
Yep, exactly. So decide over this weekend, what are you going to push hard and fast? What are you going to push slow and soft? And sit with it, and then be okay with it. Be okay with the fact that sometimes you're go, and you're feeling it and you're enjoying that adrenaline rush with it. And then love the moments where you're doing it at a slower pace, because that's you. That's you. You're not built that way. And I want to mention really quickly, when we were talking about like pushing ourselves and lack of sleep and all that stuff, years ago, this is interesting, Tony Robbins, right? Tony Robbins used to preach when back in the late 80s, early 90s, used to talk about how we'd only get 5 hours of sleep and blah, blah, blah. It was, really good. It kept him going, blah, blah, blah. Well, do you know that he actually took that statement? He said, I was completely wrong. Like that, and I'm glad he said it, because people hear him say it and they're like, oh, I got to have 5 hours of sleep, and they're killing themselves. And he actually said, you know what? I made a big mistake making that statement, because it didn't work for me. It worked for a little while, but it wasn't sustainable. So he admitted what his original statement was. And see, that's the beauty of this. See, we're old enough to know, we've heard people make statements 20 years ago, and then they make and then all of a sudden they're saying something entirely different if you're paying attention. So that's why you have to sit with this. It doesn't matter what the freak anybody's saying, do this, try this, do that. Take it in and then sit with it and then decide what parts of those work better for you. That will give you the best success in your life, not just in a business if you're trying to put a business together or in your career, but in your personal life. You have to do what's best for you. Everybody's different. Honor the differences. Embrace what we have in common, but then honor each other's differences and be respectful. Nobody likes the outside like I do necessarily. Not there's people that don't in my family, and that's not who they are. So don't put your shit on me. Don't sit there and go, oh, well, blah blah blah. Well, that's not who I am, and so you be you, I'll be me.
Not today, but the bottom line is, because I think my phone says it's gonna die. Trust your gut. Take in, read, listen to people, have conversations, but before you make your final decision, make sure that you are listening to your inner voice. Trust your gut. And then go and be happy, or find some joy, find peace, find the opening to make that change. Just do it.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for being here. We hope that you have an absolutely beautiful weekend, Gladiator Guru. We're so happy that you made it today. We did miss you on Tuesday. And I know you have another hour and a half walk, but please be safe. And when you get to your destination, just relax.
I am.
Did Hitsa show up finally? Is she there now?
No, yeah. Okay. Walking her camino, I'm walking mine, and we're meeting at the end, which is beautiful.
Okay. All right. We love you. Be safe. Tribe will see you on Tuesday. So remember, from the Badass Buddha. Oh, come on, make your hearts. No hearts. Try it again. From the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.